The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the U.S. horizon, a state-of-the-art human exploration vessel. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the view screen. It showed a small rocky planet orbiting a distant star. This was their destination, planet XR-27, the latest target in humanity's quest to explore the galaxy. Entering orbit, Captain, announced the pilot, Lieutenant Mike Roberts. Good work, Lieutenant, Sarah nodded. Dr. Evans, what can you tell us about the surface? Dr. Olivia Evans, the ship's chief scientist, studied her instruments. Atmosphere is thin but breathable. Temperature is cool but manageable. No signs of advanced life. But wait. She frowned, adjusting some controls. I'm picking up a weak energy signature. It's faint, but it shouldn't be here. Sarah's interest was piqued. Location: about 10 kilometers from the equator, in what looks like a small valley. The captain made a quick decision. All right, we're going to check it out. Dr. Evans, Lieutenant Roberts, you're with me. Suit up and meet me in the shuttle bay in 15 minutes. Soon, the small away team was descending through XR-27's atmosphere in a shuttle. As they neared the surface, they saw a landscape of rocky plains and small, scrubby plants. The valley Dr. Evans had detected was a slash of deeper green in the barren terrain. They landed near the energy source and stepped out onto the alien world. The air was thin and cold, and a light wind whispered across the plains. Sarah led the way towards the valley, her handheld scanner pointed ahead. As they entered the valley, the vegetation grew thicker. Strange, bulbous plants with purple leaves lined their path. The energy signature grew stronger. It's just ahead, Dr. Evans said, her voice tense with excitement. They pushed through a thick cluster of the alien plants and suddenly found themselves in a small clearing. In the center lay the broken remnants of what was clearly a spacecraft. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, its design organic and flowing, more like a sea creature than a vessel. Alien technology, Lieutenant Roberts breathed. First contact. But Sarah's attention was drawn to something else. A small figure lay half hidden in the tall grass near the ship. It wasn't moving. Over there, she said, pointing. They approached cautiously. As they drew closer, they could see that the figure was roughly humanoid, but clearly not human. Its skin was a pale blue, and instead of hair, it had fine, feather-like structures on its head. Dr. Evans knelt beside it, running her scanner over its body. It's alive, she said, surprise in her voice. But barely. It appears to be a child, maybe equivalent to a human 8 or 9 years old. Sarah made another quick decision. We need to get it back to the ship. It needs medical attention. As they carefully lifted the alien child, its eyes fluttered open for a moment. They were large and golden, with vertical pupils like a cat's. The child made a soft, chirping sound before falling unconscious again. Back on the U.S. horizon, the medical bay was a flurry of activity. Dr. Chen, the ship's physician, worked tirelessly to stabilize the alien child. The rest of the crew waited anxiously for news. Hours passed. Finally, Dr. Chen emerged from the medical bay, looking tired but satisfied. The child is stable, he announced. It was touch and go for a while, but I think it's going to make it. A cheer went up from the assembled crew. Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. Do we know anything more about it? She asked. Dr. Chen nodded. It's a completely new species, unlike anything in our databases. And, he hesitated, based on what I found, I believe this child might be the last of its kind. A hush fell over the crew. The implications of this discovery were enormous. They had not only made first contact with an alien species, but they might have saved the last survivor of that species from extinction. As Sarah looked through the window of the medical bay at the small, fragile alien child, she felt a fierce surge of protectiveness. Whatever happened, she vowed, they would keep this child safe. Humanity had just taken its first steps into a larger galaxy, and their actions now would define them as a species. "Welcome aboard," she whispered to the sleeping alien. "We're going to call you Hope." The U.S. Horizon raced through space, its engines pushed to the limit. Inside the medical bay, Dr. Chen monitored the alien child they had named Hope. Captain Sarah Chen paced nearby, her face etched with worry. "How's our little friend doing, Doctor?" Sarah asked. Dr. Chen smiled. "Much better. Hope's recovering faster than I expected. Quite resilient, this little one." As if on cue, Hope's large golden eyes fluttered open. The alien child chirped softly, looking around with curiosity. Sarah approached slowly. "Hello, Hope. You're safe now." Hope tilted its head, then made a series of musical clicks and whistles. Dr. Chen consulted his translator. "It seems to be asking where it is," he said. Before Sarah could respond, the ship's communications officer's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's from the Galactic Council." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. The Galactic Council, the governing body of known spacefaring races. Humanity had only learned of its existence recently and had yet to be granted membership. "I'm on my way," Sarah said. She gave Hope a reassuring pat before hurrying to the bridge. On the main screen, a stern-faced alien appeared. It had green, scale-like skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. "This is High Counselor Zextra of the Galactic Council," it said, its voice translated into English. "To whom am I speaking?" Sarah straightened her uniform. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the U.S. Horizon, representing Earth and humanity." Zextra's eyes narrowed. "Captain Chen, our sensors detected that you've made contact with a Xeraxian juvenile. Is this correct?" Sarah hesitated, then nodded. "If by Xeraxian you mean the child we rescued, then yes." "Rescued?" Zextra's tone was dismissive. "Captain, you've interfered with a designated extinction event. The Xeraxians were deemed unfit for galactic society. Their removal was necessary." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "Removal? You mean genocide?" "A crude term," Zextra said. "We prefer to think of it as galactic pruning. Regardless that Xeraxian is an anomaly that must be corrected. You will surrender it to us immediately." Sarah's fists clenched at her sides. "With all due respect, Counselor, we will do no such thing. This child is under our protection." Zextra's eyes flashed with anger. "You dare defy the Galactic Council. Humanity is not even a member race. You have no standing here." "We may not be members," Sarah said, her voice firm, "but we have our own principles. We won't hand over an innocent child to be executed. Your principles are irrelevant." Zextra snapped. "The Council's word is law. Surrender the Xeraxian, or face the consequences." The transmission cut off abruptly. Sarah turned to her crew, seeing shock and anger on their faces. "Orders, Captain," Lieutenant Roberts asked. Sarah took a deep breath. "Set course for Earth, maximum speed. We need to inform our government about this." As the horizon sped towards Earth, news of Hope spread like wildfire. By the time they reached orbit, the whole planet was in an uproar. Governments debated, citizens protested, and the media was in a frenzy. Sarah stood before the United Earth Council, Hope cradled in her arms. The alien child had grown attached to her, refusing to leave her side. "Members of the Council," Sarah said, her voice echoing in the Grand Chamber, "I stand before you not just as a captain, but as a human being. The Galactic Council has demanded we hand over this child for execution. They threaten us with consequences if we refuse." Murmurs filled the chamber. Sarah continued, "But I ask you, if we bow to this demand, if we sacrifice an innocent child to save ourselves, what kind of species would we be? Would we deserve to call ourselves civilized?" Hope chirped softly, sensing the tension in the room. Several council members leaned forward, their expressions softening as they looked at the alien child. The president of the United Earth Council stood. "Captain Chen, your actions have placed us in a difficult position." But she paused, looking at Hope. I believe you've also shown us the best of humanity. We will not surrender this child." A cheer went up from the gathered crowd. Sarah felt tears in her eyes as she hugged Hope closer. But their celebration was short-lived. Alarms blared, and an aide rushed into the chamber. "Madam President," he gasped, "we're detecting multiple ships entering our solar system. It's the Galactic Council fleet. They're here." As the chamber erupted into chaos, Sarah looked down at Hope. The child's golden eyes met hers, filled with trust and innocence. In that moment, Sarah knew that whatever came next, humanity would face it together. They would protect Hope, no matter the cost. The skies over Earth glowed with an eerie light as the combined fleets of humanity and their new alien allies faced off against the Galactic Council's armada. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the U.S. Horizon, now the flagship of Earth's defense. Beside her, Hope watched the screens with wide golden eyes. "Status report," Sarah commanded, her voice tense but steady. Lieutenant Mike Roberts responded. "Our shields are holding, Captain. The Andromedan technology is working better than we hoped." Suddenly, alarms blared. "Multiple energy signatures detected," shouted the sensor officer. "They're powering up weapons." Sarah's heart raced. All ships, brace for impact. The first volley from the Council's fleet lit up space like 1,000 suns. Earth's combined defenses held, but barely. The horizon shook violently, throwing crew members to the floor. Hope chirped in fear, clinging to Sarah's leg. She scooped up the alien child, holding it close. "It's okay," she whispered. "We'll protect you." On the main screen, High Counselor Zextra's face appeared, his 4 eyes blazing with fury. "You leave us no choice, humans. If you will not surrender the anomaly, we will take more drastic measures." The transmission cut off abruptly. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "What are they planning?" she muttered. Her question was answered moments later as massive energy readings appeared on their sensors. The Council ships were combining their firepower, aiming not at the defensive fleet, but at Earth itself. "They're targeting major cities," Roberts yelled. "New York, London, Beijing, Moscow. They're all in the line of fire." Sarah's mind raced. Their shields couldn't cover the whole planet. Millions would die. "Unless—" "Hope," she said softly, looking at the alien child in her arms. "Can you help us, like you did with the Andromedans?" Hope tilted its head, chirping questioningly. Then, as if understanding, the child closed its eyes. A soft, golden glow began to emanate from its body. Suddenly, Hope's eyes snapped open, now shining like miniature suns. A burst of energy pulsed from the child, washing over the horizon and spreading outward. "Captain," Roberts exclaimed, "that energy, it's interfacing with our shields. It's expanding them." Sarah watched in awe as a golden barrier spread across the Earth, just as the Council's weapons fired. The massive energy beams struck the shield, causing it to flare brilliantly. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed like it might fail. But the shield held. Cheers erupted across the bridge. Sarah hugged Hope tightly, feeling a mix of relief and amazement. "You did it," she whispered. "You saved us all." However, their victory was short-lived. While the planet was safe, the Council's attack had overwhelmed many of the ships in Earth's defense fleet. Distress calls flooded in as vessels reported critical damage. "We need to end this now," Sarah said grimly. She turned to her communications officer. "Get me a line to all Allied ships." As the connection was established, Sarah spoke, her voice ringing with determination. "This is Captain Chen. The Council has shown their true colors today. They were willing to sacrifice millions of innocent lives in their misguided crusade. But we stood strong. We protected not just Hope, but our homes, our families, and our values." She paused, looking at the determined faces of her crew. "Now it's time to take the fight to them. We have right on our side. And thanks to Hope, we have the power to stand against their tyranny. Who's with me?" The response was immediate and overwhelming. Ships from every allied species signaled their support. Even vessels that had been damaged limped into formation, ready to make their stand. As the combined fleet prepared to launch their counterattack, Sarah looked down at Hope. The alien child gazed back at her, its golden eyes filled with trust and something else, a wisdom far beyond its years. "Whatever happens next," Sarah said softly, "we're in this together. Not just humanity, but all beings who believe in justice and compassion." Hope chirped in agreement, and for a moment, Sarah felt like she could see the future in those golden eyes, a future where beings from across the galaxy stood united, where diversity was celebrated, not feared. With renewed determination, Sarah turned back to the view screen. The Council's fleet loomed before them, still powerful, still threatening. But now, Sarah knew they had something the Council could never understand: the strength that comes from standing up for what's right, no matter the cost. "All ships," she commanded, her voice steady and clear, "prepare to engage. Let's show the Council what real galactic unity looks like." As the dust settled from the Galactic Council's brutal attack, Earth faced a daunting challenge. The planet was safe for now, thanks to Hope's incredible power, but the war was far from over. In a secret underground facility beneath the ruins of Geneva, Captain Sarah Chen stood before a gathering of Earth's brightest minds and representatives from their alien allies. "We've held them off for now," Sarah said, her voice echoing in the cavernous room. "But the Council will be back, and we need to be ready." Dr. Olivia Evans, the chief scientist from the U.S. Horizon, stepped forward. "Captain, I've been studying the energy readings from Hope's shield. I think we might be able to replicate it." A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd. Sarah felt a glimmer of hope. "Go on, Doctor." Dr. Evans pulled up a holographic display. "The energy Hope emits is unlike anything we've seen before, but with the help of our Andromedan allies, we've managed to break down its basic structure." An Andromedan scientist, its tentacles waving gently, added, "The child's power seems to be a form of psychic energy, amplified and channeled in a way we've never encountered. It's beautiful." Hope, sitting quietly in Sarah's arms, chirped softly at the praise. "If we can harness this energy," Dr. Evans continued, "we could create weapons and shields that the Council has never seen before. We might actually stand a chance." The room erupted in excited chatter. Scientists from a dozen species began discussing possibilities, their earlier rivalries forgotten in the face of this new challenge. Sarah felt a tug on her sleeve. She looked down to see Hope pointing at the holographic display, chirping insistently. "Wait," Sarah said, raising her voice. The room fell silent. "I think Hope wants to show us something." She set the alien child down near the hologram. Hope reached out, its small hands glowing softly. The display shimmered and changed, showing complex equations and designs that even the most brilliant scientists in the room struggled to comprehend. "Incredible," breathed Dr. Evans. "It's not just raw power. Hope understands the science behind it." For the next few days, the underground facility was a hive of activity. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, combining Hope's insights with their own knowledge and the advanced technology of their alien allies. Sarah watched in amazement as new inventions took shape: shields that could absorb and redirect energy, weapons that could disrupt the Council's technology, communication systems that could cut through any interference. But the most impressive creation was a massive device they called the Harmony Core. It was designed to amplify and distribute Hope's energy across entire fleets of ships. As the core neared completion, Sarah approached Hope, who was watching the scientists work with curious eyes. "You've given us so much," Sarah said softly. "But using the core, it might be dangerous for you. We would never force you to do this." Hope looked up at her, its golden eyes wise beyond their years. The alien child chirped and placed a small hand on the core, which hummed to life, glowing with a soft golden light. Sarah felt tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. Just then, Alarms blared throughout the facility. A voice came over the intercom. Multiple council ships detected entering the solar system. They'll reach Earth in less than 24 hours. The room froze for a moment, then burst into frenzied activity. Sarah straightened her back, her voice cutting through the chaos. This is what we've prepared for, people. Let's move. As the newly created technology was rushed to ships and defense stations around the globe, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. In the face of overwhelming odds, humanity had not only survived but thrived. They had united, not just with each other, but with beings from across the galaxy. She looked down at Hope, who gazed back with trust and determination. Ready to show the Council what we can do? Sarah asked. Hope chirped confidently, a sound that needed no translation. As they boarded a shuttle to return to the U.S. horizon, now upgraded with their new technology, Sarah felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. The coming battle would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the future of the entire galaxy. But looking at the united forces gathering around them, human ships flying alongside vessels of a dozen alien races, all powered by the brilliance of countless minds working together, Sarah knew one thing for certain. They were ready. The vastness of space was alive with tension as the united fleet of Earth and its allies faced the approaching armada of the Galactic Council. On the bridge of the U.S. horizon, Captain Sarah Chen stood tall, Hope nestled safely in a specially designed chair beside her. All ships report ready, Captain, Lieutenant Mike Roberts announced, his voice steady despite the pressure. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. The Council's fleet was massive, easily outnumbering their own forces 3-1. But numbers weren't everything. Activate the Harmony Core, Sarah commanded. At her words, Hope chirped softly and closed its eyes. The ship hummed as the core came to life, suffusing the horizon and the surrounding allied ships with a soft golden glow. Energy readings are off the charts, Captain, Dr. Evans reported from her station. The core is working even better than we hoped. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Send the signal. Operation Stardust, his go. Across the fleet, ships began to move. But instead of forming a defensive line as the Council surely expected, they split into smaller groups, each targeting a different section of the enemy fleet. On the main view screen, High Counselor Zextra's face appeared, his 4 eyes narrowed in suspicion. What game are you playing, humans? Your pathetic fleet cannot hope to stand against us. Sarah met his gaze coolly. We're not standing against you, Counselor. We're taking you down. Before Zextra could respond, the Allied fleet sprang into action. Ships powered by the Harmony Core moved with impossible speed and agility, dancing between the Council's energy blasts as if they weren't there. First wave, engage, Sarah ordered. A group of smaller ships darted forward, firing weapons that pulsed with Hope's unique energy. Where they struck, Council ships flickered and went dark, their systems overloaded by the unfamiliar power. Zextra's eyes widened in shock. Impossible. How are you? His transmission cut off as the horizon rocked from a direct hit. Shields holding at 95%. Roberts reported, a note of wonder in his voice. The battle raged on, a dance of light and energy across the stars. The Council's superior numbers began to work against them as they struggled to maneuver in the chaos, sometimes firing on their own ships in the confusion. Sarah watched the tactical display, calling out orders as the tide of battle shifted. The Council was falling back, but they weren't beaten yet. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Massive energy spike detected. Dr. Evans shouted, "They're powering up some kind of super weapon." An enormous ship emerged from the heart of the Council's fleet, its front opening like the maw of some terrible beast. Energy crackled around it, building to a crescendo. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Sarah commanded, but she knew it was hopeless. Whatever that weapon was, its blast would be too wide to dodge. Hope chirped urgently, tugging at Sarah's sleeve. The alien child's eyes were wide, filled with determination. Sarah understood instantly. "Divert all power to the Harmony core," she ordered. "Hope, are you sure about this?" Hope nodded, its small face set in a look of concentration. As the Council's super weapon prepared to fire, Hope closed its eyes, channeling every ounce of its incredible power into the core. The horizon shuddered as energy surged through it. A massive shield of golden light expanded from the ship, enveloping the entire Allied fleet just as the Council weapon fired. The blast struck the shield with a force that made reality itself seem to bend. For a heart-stopping moment, it looked like the shield might shatter. But it held. As the energy dissipated, Sarah saw their chance. "All ships, concentrate fire on that superweapon. This is our moment." The Allied fleet responded as one, pouring fire into the Council's now vulnerable ship. Under the combined assault, enhanced by Hope's power, the massive vessel cracked and then exploded in a blinding flash. A cheer went up across the bridge of the horizon. The Council fleet, seeing their ultimate weapon destroyed, began to retreat in disarray. Sarah allowed herself a moment of relief before turning to Hope. The alien child looked exhausted but happy, chirping weakly. "You did it, little one," Sarah said softly, scooping Hope into her arms. "You saved us all." As the Council fleet fled and the Allied ships regrouped, Sarah knew the war wasn't over, but they had won a crucial victory, one that would echo across the galaxy. Humanity, once dismissed as a primitive species, had stood against the might of the Galactic Council and emerged victorious. And they had done it not through brute force, but through unity, innovation, and compassion. Sarah looked out at the stars, Hope cradled in her arms, and smiled. The future of the galaxy was changing, and humanity would help shape it. The grand hall of the newly constructed Galactic Unity Center on Earth buzzed with excitement. Representatives from hundreds of alien species, once oppressed by the Galactic Council, now gathered in peace. At the center of it all stood Captain Sarah Chen, her uniform gleaming with newly added medals, and beside her, Hope, the small alien child who had changed the course of galactic history. "Order, please," called out the Andromedan ambassador, its tentacles waving gently. The room fell silent. "We are here today to forge a new path for our galaxy." Sarah stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. For too long, the Galactic Council ruled through fear and prejudice. They sought to eliminate those they deemed unworthy. She placed a hand on Hope's shoulder. "But they failed to understand that our differences are our strength." Hope chirped in agreement, its golden eyes scanning the room. Many of the gathered aliens smiled at the sound, remembering how this small being had been key to their liberation. "The defeat of the Council has left a void," Sarah continued, "but it also gives us an opportunity to create something better, something just." Over the next few hours, representatives from various species took turns speaking. They shared their experiences, their hopes, and their ideas for a new galactic governing body. There were disagreements, of course, but the atmosphere remained one of cooperation and mutual respect. As the discussions went on, Dr. Olivia Evans approached Sarah with a tablet in hand. "Captain," she said excitedly, "we've finished analyzing the data from the Harmony core. The implications are, well, they're incredible." Sarah looked at the information, her eyes widening. "Is this confirmed?" Dr. Evans nodded. "Multiple times. The energy Hope channels. It's not just a weapon or a shield. It's a key to faster-than-light travel, instantaneous communication across vast distances, even terraforming barren planets." Hope chirped curiously, sensing the excitement. Sarah knelt down to the child's level. "You've given us more than safety," she said softly. "You've given us a future among the stars." The alien child tilted its head, then reached out and touched the tablet. To everyone's amazement, the complex diagrams rearranged themselves, becoming even more elegant and efficient. Sarah stood, clearing her throat to get the room's attention. "Friends," she announced, "we have been given a gift. Knowledge that can benefit all of us." She explained what they had discovered, watching as expressions of wonder and hope spread across alien faces. An elderly Xargan, its scales shimmering with age, spoke up. In our long history, we have seen many rise to power, but never have we seen power wielded with such wisdom and compassion. It bowed its head to Sarah and Hope. Perhaps it is fitting that the youngest species, guided by a child, should lead us into a new era. There was a murmur of agreement throughout the hall. The Andromedan ambassador raised its tentacles for silence. Then let us put it to a vote. Shall we form a new united galactic alliance, with Earth and its allies at its heart? The vote was unanimous. As the new alliance took shape over the following days, Sarah found a quiet moment with Hope on a balcony overlooking the bustling city. The sky was filled with ships from 100 worlds, coming and going in peace. "You know," Sarah said, "when we found you, we thought we were saving you. But really, you saved us. You showed us what we could be." Hope chirped softly, its golden eyes reflecting the starlight. It pointed up at the sky, then back at Sarah, making a series of musical sounds. Though she couldn't understand the words, Sarah felt she knew the meaning. "Yes," she said, smiling. "This is just the beginning. We have a whole galaxy to explore, to learn from, to help." As if in response, a shooting star streaked across the sky. Sarah made a silent wish, not for herself, but for the future they were building. A future of unity, of discovery, of hope. The next morning, as Sarah prepared to chair the first official meeting of the United Galactic Alliance, she felt a sense of both responsibility and excitement. The challenges ahead were enormous, but so were the possibilities. With Hope at her side and allies from across the stars, Sarah knew that humanity had found its place in the universe, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as friends and protectors. As she entered the grand hall, filled with beings of all shapes and sizes, Sarah Chen, once a simple starship captain, now a leader of a galactic alliance, took a deep breath and smiled. The future was bright, and it belonged to all of them. The United Earth Defense Command Center buzzed with activity. Screens showed the approaching Galactic Council fleet, hundreds of ships, far more advanced than anything humanity possessed. In the center of the room, Captain Sarah Chen stood with Hope cradled in her arms, surrounded by Earth's leaders. "We're outgunned and outnumbered," General Rodriguez said, his face grim. "If we fight, we'll lose." President Amelia Carter nodded, her eyes never leaving the alien child. "But if we give up hope, we lose something far more important, our humanity." A hush fell over the room. Hope chirped softly, sensing the tension. Suddenly, a young technician spoke up. "Ma'am, we're receiving a global transmission. It's coming from everywhere." "Put it on screen," the president ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing images from around the world. In New York, thousands gathered in Times Square. In Beijing, crowds filled the streets. In Cairo, people stood shoulder to shoulder in Tahrir Square. Every major city on Earth showed the same scene. Millions of humans, united in purpose. A chant began, soft at first, then growing louder. "Protect hope. Protect hope." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. She looked down at Hope, who was watching the screens with wide golden eyes. President Carter straightened her shoulders. "Well," she said, a smile playing on her lips, "it seems the people have spoken. General Rodriguez, what are our options?" The general cleared his throat. "We've been working on some experimental shield technology. It's not perfect, but it might buy us some time." "Do it," the president nodded, "and get me aligned to the Galactic Council. It's time we showed them what humanity is made of." As the Defense Command scrambled to prepare, Sarah found herself in a quiet corner with Hope. The alien child looked up at her, chirping questioningly. "I don't know what's going to happen," Sarah said softly, "but I promise you this, we won't let them hurt you." Suddenly, alarms blared. The Galactic Council fleet had entered Earth's orbit. On the main screen, High Counselor Zextra appeared, his 4 eyes narrowed in anger. "Humans," he spat, Your defiance ends now. Surrender the extraction anomaly, or face annihilation. President Carter stepped forward, her voice steady. Counselors Extra, we've heard your demands. Now hear ours. The child you call an anomaly, we call Hope, and Hope is under our protection. Zextra's eyes widened in surprise. You would risk everything for one alien child. We would, the president replied, because that's who we are. We stand up for the defenseless. We protect the innocent, and we do not bow to bullies, no matter how powerful they might be. A murmur of approval ran through the command center. Sarah felt a surge of pride. Zextra's face contorted with rage. Then you have sealed your fate. Prepare for. His words were cut off as the transmission suddenly ended. The room held its breath, waiting for the attack to begin. But instead of weapons fire, a new transmission came through. This time, it showed a different alien, one with flowing tentacles and iridescent skin. People of Earth, the new alien said, its voice melodious, I am Ambassador Zilva of the Andromedans. We have been monitoring your situation. Your compassion for a child not of your species has moved us. We offer our assistance against the Galactic Council's aggression. Hope chirped excitedly, as if recognizing the Andromedan. Sarah looked at the alien child in wonder. Had Hope's presence attracted this new ally? Before anyone could respond, more transmissions flooded in. Alien races from across the galaxy, all offering support to Earth. Many spoke of their own grievances against the Galactic Council, of the injustices they had suffered. As the command center erupted in cheers, Sarah hugged Hope tightly. The alien child nuzzled against her, making a sound that could only be described as a purr. President Carter turned to Sarah, her eyes shining. It seems, she said, that by choosing to protect one child, we've changed the course of galactic history. Sarah nodded, feeling a mix of relief and determination. The fight wasn't over. The Galactic Council was still a formidable enemy. But now, Earth wasn't standing alone. They had allies, drawn to them by their compassion and courage. As she looked at Hope, Sarah realized that this was just the beginning. Humanity had taken its stand, and the galaxy would never be the same.